that's one fight I really look forward to. I used to train with Earl back in a Viveros boxing gym, and we kind of have a history, good history. I looked up to him. He was one of the first fighters that I actually looked up to as a young boxer, and I mean, it would mean a lot if I could share the ring with him.
Did you guys ever spar?
We never sparred. I was like 9, he was like 18, so that was a big.
Wow. Great Respect the Boxing here with another video. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Also hit the bell notification that way you stay updated on the latest content as it comes onto the channel. Hey, tonight we're going to be going over a recap of Vergil Ortiz Jr. versus Samuel Vargas. It was a 7-round KO stoppage by the young contender, Vergil Ortiz Jr. Jack Reese stopped the fight with maybe a second left in the 7th round. very late. We'll get into that. I want to bring light to why I put that little clip in right before this video. There was a mix-up about Vergil Ortiz Jr. and Ortiz-Spence thinking that they're friends or that they're enemies. I think they're more like associates. Like he said, they grew up where they boxed in the same gym at one point. Ortiz-Spence, there is an age gap, 8 years, so around the time Ortiz-Spence was fighting at the gym, say Vergil Ortiz Jr. was 8 or 9. Ortiz-Spence was probably like 16, 17 years old. So he said, like he said, he looked up to him, and that was some good information that he gave out there. And I think that he's basically idols become rivals, and he probably idolized him because he was so close. He was one of the guys he's seen the most, seen him go through the amateur, seen him go through the U.S. Olympics, and then seen him have success turning pro. So I believe that he is a fan of Ortiz-Spence, but idols become rivals. He is a guy that will rival, and he will try to challenge Ortiz-Spence if he's still in division at some point for his crown as the king of the welterweight division. This 147 division, though, is stacked full of talent. Let's get to the fight. Tonight, it was a 7-round stoppage, man. I'm gonna highlight Jack Reese, and anytime you highlight a referee, you know that there was some controversy around the referee. Tonight, I think Jack Reese did a subpar job. I think he could have did a lot better. He stopped Vergil Ortiz in one of the rounds and told him that Vergil Ortiz made a maneuver and turn on Samuel Vargas, making Vargas face the corner, and he was behind his back. Now, he didn't throw any punches, but Vergil Ortiz was actually waiting for Samuel Vargas to turn around so he could tee off. Well, Jack Reese jumped in, stopped the action in the fight, and then kind of warned Vergil Ortiz that he could not turn on a guy and then wait for him to turn around and punch him. Well, if you want to stop an action, if a guy turns on a guy, then you stop it. But it's not the fighter's problem to stop and not fight a guy. If he turns on him. If he's waiting for him to turn back around and start the action again, he didn't hit him in the back. He didn't make an illegal move. He didn't make an illegal punch. He was waiting on the guy. He was going to let him turn around. If you didn't want him to hit him, then you stop in as a referee and you protect the fighter. But it's not his job to protect the fighter in that position. If he has like superior footwork and he's able to turn, and the other fighter just cannot catch up, and he end up hitting the guy in the face or something, as long as he ain't making a bad hit to the back of the skull or anything like that, then it's not a problem. And see, the problem I had with it, because I think he affected the fight, because later in the fight when Vergil Ortiz had a chance after turning on Vargas, he did not tee off, he did not throw punches, and that's because, let me give you some history, Vergil Ortiz was almost disqualified for a hit behind the head that was subsequently reversed and turned into a TKO victory for him in another fight. So this guy is a guy that has that in the back of his head, knowing that the referee could call that a hit to the behind the head, and he was warned by Jack Reese, and he subsequently later in the fight, when he did turn on Jack Reese, he didn't tee off. And the reason he didn't tee off because Jack Reese gave him the idea that maybe he may penalize him because he's in a bad angle. So I think he affected the fight in that manner. He probably could have got him out of there earlier, but a lot of times he turned on him and he didn't throw punches, and it probably looked crazy on TV. But that's in that fighter's head. Hey, if I hit this guy when I turn, is he gonna say if I slightly hit him on the side of the ear, is he gonna say I hit him in behind the head, which happened in another fight, and he actually was called for disqualification, but luckily the commissioner was on the side of the fight. I'll get that fight for you, but luckily the commissioner was on the side of the fight, and they reversed the call and made it a TKO victory for Vergil Ortiz. So that's in the back of his mind. So I thought that was a poor job by, I think Jack Reese was the referee tonight. I think it was a poor job by Jack Reese. He should have let that if he wanted to stop that action, stop it. But after that, let it continue. Don't insert yourself in that position. I believe he affected the fight in a negative way from that point moving forward. Okay, the other part is this fight went 7 rounds, and Samuel Vargas got his ass beat. A good 6 of the 7 rounds. Like, got pummeled a good 6 of the 7 rounds. I think Vergil Ortiz kind of took one round kind of off. I think he kind of gassed himself out, and I think like the 4th round, trying to get him out of there. And I think kind of took the 5th round off. I think that's what it was. I can't remember exactly which round it was, but correct me in the comments if you can. Okay, but then we get down to where he was pummeling him in the 7th round. He was really tagging him, man. He was teeing off. Samuel Vargas couldn't protect himself. He got to the point where I'm looking at the screen like, please, referee, stop him, help himself, because he's not gonna back down. He's taking so much punishment. He doesn't know that he's done. He's finished. He really hadn't won a round up to that point. He's been outclassed, and he's getting his ass beat. I'm talking about beat, and these are heavy blows, and he's standing on his feet. It wasn't equilibrium blows that brought him down to the ground, which you could have called the slip that Jack Reese called a slip. You could have called that a knockdown. He tried to grab and hold on to Vergil Ortiz to kind of keep himself up, and Vergil Ortiz was backing up. He basically was going down. He was trying to keep himself up and tie him up, but he couldn't. And he tried to tackle Vergil Ortiz, which was poor. He should have probably deducted a point for that shit, if anything. But Jack Reese let it go the whole 7th round. And I'm talking about it. I know everybody at home was looking at their TV saying, please stop this fucking fight. He is teeing off on this guy. It is brutal. The guy can't defend himself. He's been proven not to be able to defend himself over several rounds. And now he's just getting teed off. He's getting hurt. And this is getting borderline where these guys start to go to the hospital and need medical attention and could be in serious injury as a result. So Jack Reese, you kind of slipped up on that too. Let's also go to it was a TKO stoppage, 7 round, maybe a second to spare. You know, that's why I say that it was so late. You know, he could have stopped at any time in the 7th round. With a second to spare, so he get TKO victory. And then after the fight, they asked Vergil Ortiz Jr. who he'd like to fight next. And they mentioned Earl Spence, but he had no part in that. He didn't say anything about Earl Spence. He kept it classy on that note, and I guess he's sticking to the notion that he needs 2 years to fight Earl Spence. I think he needs about 5-6 more fights, including some good competition, so he can get a little bit better. But he did call out Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia. I thought those 2 quality opponents. I believe that he has a 50-50 chance to beat Keith. I think it's more like a 55-45 chance to beat Danny Garcia. I would edge him over Danny Garcia right now. Just thinking about where Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia was in their career at the same point, he has surpassed them, but I think he needs a little bit more polish. Keith is a very crafty veteran and a guy who can use all of the ring, and he's going to utilize all of that to try to get a victory. Whereas Danny is a little bit more flat-footed, needs to counter-react to get his punches off. And I believe that he'll have a lot of success with Danny with the newfound footwork that he's given from Robert Garcia. Let me tell you something. Robert Garcia was not there tonight, and I meant to make sure I highlight that notion. His fingerprints was all over this fight. This kid looks so different under Robert Garcia than he did under Joel Diaz. Robert Garcia has him turning, has him using footwork. He needs to cut off the ring a little bit better, but it was exceptional footwork from where he started when he first turned professional under Joel Diaz to where he is now since he's been training with Robert Garcia. And I mean, the footwork was there. This guy already has balance on his punches. superior balance. He came in with that natural ability, and now not only does he have superior balance, he has the patience. He's finding the range, but now this guy has great footwork. And the footwork is only going to get better as he learns to cut down the ring. Right now, I think he's up there with anybody in the welterweight division. Now, if I think that he can take out a Terrence Crawford right now, no, I don't think. I think Terrence Crawford at this point could outbox him. No, his only notion to be beating a Terrence Crawford would be to more likely knock him out, and I'm not sure if that would happen. That's like a wish and a prayer. If you don't have the right good footwork to put yourself in a good position to knock him out, also having defense, because Terrence Crawford is a guy who will trade with you and will throw back at you, and will pick sometimes he picks good spots, sometimes he picks bad spots, but he will trade with you. And if it's in his favor, it's not going to be in your favor. So I think that if he could continue to improve, he could challenge any of these guys. But right now, I think it's still a little too early for Keith and Danny. I think he needs a few more fights under his belt. And just to be honest, I don't think Keith nor Danny is going to give him the time of day when it comes to challenges. Keith has showed in the past he's not interested in challenging taking a fight for anybody who's not established. He wants money when he fights. And if it doesn't make dollars, it don't make sense for Danny either. Danny has said that on several occasions. He was not eager to fight Errol Spence as he was coming up. These guys surely won't be eager to fight Vergil Ortiz as he's starting to make a dent in the division. And what else? I mentioned Robert Garcia. Robert Garcia wasn't in his corner. He was coached by his dad tonight, which was Vergil Ortiz Sr. And I believe he took good instructions from his dad. It was some spots where he was headhunting. I think there was a third round. He was doing a lot of headhunting. He went back to the corner. His dad gave him very sound advice on how to go forward, moving into the fight. And I think he went right out back into the next round, and he immediately starts to apply whatever you tell him. And that's what I told you. This guy absorbs information and then he applies it immediately. That is a sign of somebody that's well coachable, and with the talent that he has and is well coachable. Man, this guy is a killer combination. So it was a good showing tonight. Vergil Ortiz is the future at the 147. I believe that this guy, the sky's the limit on what he can do. And if he sticks with Robert Garcia, which I think is a perfect combination because it looks good. It looks good visually to see him fighting under Robert Garcia. The way that he fights now, the way that he moves around the ring with the fluidity that he gets into the angles that he wants to get into. He's throwing the combinations that he wants to throw. I think he needs to go down to the body a little bit more. Sometimes he gets head happy, and I'm talking about he gets really head happy. Like in this fight, it was one point where he did not throw a body punch. He only threw head punches, and it gave Vargas the ability to start rolling that punch because he seen it coming. It was telegraphed. He know it's going to come, and he was able to kind of fend that punch off a little bit better the more he seen it, and he seen it over and over, and all he had to do was just get some combination to the body. It was another part of the fight where Samuel Vargas said that he was not hurt, and that he did not get hurt in the fight, but he went, I think it was between the 6th and 7th round, he went to the corner and asked for, I'd never seen a fighter do this, asked for ice to his side. Like, he was getting hit in the body so hard, he asked them to ice his side. And I seen a picture after the fight where he actually had his arm over his side, like kind of clutching it. And I thought that was very indicative that those body punches that they told him to go downstairs and get, he hurt him bad with those body punches. More than what he wanted to admit, because Vergil Ortiz said after the fight, he went over and talked to Samuel Vargas. He said he was never hurt. He claims he was never hurt, but he knows he was hurt. Yeah, he knows he was hurt. He hit him in the body hard, and I seen him ask them to ice his side. I've never seen a fighter do that. I've been watching boxing for years. I've never seen a fighter say, get the ice, put it here on my side where it hurt at. That guy hit him that hard. But in any case, it was a great outing for Vergil Ortiz Jr. This guy is the future at the welterweight division. Let me know in the comment section what you think about Vergil Ortiz, what you think his next opponent should be. What about the handling Golden Boy? What do you think about Golden Boy handling him? How do you think his father is guiding his career, and what do you think that Robert Garcia's impact on his career will be? And is he ready for the next level, the top echelon fighters, the champions at 147, i.e. Terrence Crawford, i.e. Errol Spence Jr., and then those guys who were former champions, the Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Sean Porters of the world. Where do you think he stands with me? I think out of the top 10, he's competitive with anybody in the top 10 at this point in his career. Just right now, with no further advancement, I think he can push anybody in the top 10 right now. And I believe he beats 50% of the top 10 right now in his career. Let me know what you guys think. That's Dre Spector. That's all I got for you for now, and I'm out.